Let's start working on question 7 in this video. So we have a village with 6 residents that can invest $1,000. Now the investments can be in a government bond which pays 11% per year, or they can use that money to buy a steer which will graze on the village commons. Now what is a steer? That's an animal. And what do they mean by village commons? Well, there's a field probably with grass where this animal can eat, and the more it eats, the bigger it can get and the more money it can be sold for. That's the intuition. Now the investments, the steers and the government bonds, each cost exactly $1,000. Okay, the price of the steer depends on the number of steers on that field. So we can see the relationship over here. The more steers, the more of these animals we have on the field, the less grass we have available for each one of them. So if they eat less grass, they become smaller, so we can sell them for less money. And indeed, this is the relationship shown here as well. The price is decreasing with the number of steers. So more steers, less price for each of them. Hope this makes sense. Now, what do we have in part A? If the residents make their investment decisions independently, how many steers are there going to be on the commons? Okay, so we have the data over here, 6 people that can invest $1,000, and we have these two options. Because they decide independently, we have to compare the benefits for every person. And that person can invest either in one steer or in one bond. So if they invest in the bond, let's see what's going to be the result from that. $1,000 would return 11%. So the result would be 1 plus 11% over here, meaning that they would get $1,110. And we have to compare this amount with the benefit that they would get from selling the steers. So if the first resident buys one steer, he can sell it on the market for $1,200, and he compares this with the opportunity cost, with the alternative of getting $1,100. Well, this is clearly better. So yes, the first resident will buy a steer. Now let's see if the second guy, the second resident, buys the second steer. Now his steer will be cheaper. It will be $1,175, and he has to compare this with the opportunity cost of putting the money in the bond. So that's 1,110, and this is also $1,010. So this is also better. The return from the steer is better than the return from the bond. So the second guy is also going to invest in the steer. Now we go to the third resident to see if he buys the third steer. So he would sell it on the market for $1,150, whereas the alternative would be $1,110. So this is greater, meaning that yes, the third guy will buy the steer as well. And after that, let's see for the fourth option, the fourth resident. If he invests in the steer, he can sell it on the market for $1,125, whereas his opportunity cost, his alternative, would yield him $1,110. This is also better. So yes, the fourth guy will invest in the steer as well. Now we go to the fifth guy. He would sell the steer on the market for $1,100, and that would be less than $1,110 that he could get from investing in the bond. So the fifth guy will invest in the bond, and obviously the sixth guy will invest in the bond as well, because again his price of the steer will also be less than the opportunity cost of $1,110, and that would be it. 4 people would invest in the steers, and 2 people would invest in the bonds. Hope this makes sense. In the next video we continue.